I'm Grace Torie, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl, Grace Torie, and I am back with a whole new podcast episode. Not just any episode, but little drum roll. I'm not going to add the sound effect, but just imagine it. It's our 100th episode. That is right. If you have been here since the first episode to ever come out, if you've been here since about 10 seconds ago when this episode started, I appreciate you. I love you so much. I cannot thank you enough, and I can't believe that we have 100 episodes out there. It has been a wild ride. I don't even, 100 just seems like a lot. That's a really high number, and one of the things I promised myself when I started this podcast is that I'm not going to give up on it, because you guys know, I've talked about it before, I have ADHD, I tend to hyperfixate on things, and then when something doesn't immediately happen, I don't immediately make something out of it or get something incredible out of it, like 1 million followers or $1 million or, anything in the form of millions, I just move on and pretend it never happened. And I didn't want to do that with this. I told myself I had to see it through, and by no means is this the end at all, but I feel really accomplished that I've come this far. 100 is not easy, and I think it was last week, it might have been the week before, that we celebrated 1 year of the podcast. So getting out 100 episodes in 53 weeks or something, 54 weeks, is kind of crazy. I obviously skipped maybe 4 episodes altogether, or uploading 4 episodes altogether, and I uploaded twice a week, every single week outside of that. So that is literally insane. That is a pretty big commitment when you consider editing, filming, recording, scripting, all the things that go into a podcast. So I don't know, I love you and I appreciate you, and I definitely would not have the motivation to do it without you. So I just thank you. I thank you for wanting to stick around and better yourself and listen to me talk. First off, thanks for wanting to hear my opinion and thinking that it matters, because I haven't always thought that it does. So the fact that you do means a lot. But also, more importantly, thank you for committing to yourself and wanting to better yourself, and thinking that taking 30 minutes out of twice a week to listen to my episodes is beneficial to you, because that's the whole point of this podcast. I thank you, and I think that you would thank you too. When you look back, I hope you thank you for doing that as well. One thing about me is I am my worst critic, which means I don't really listen to or watch any of my episodes after I edit them, especially old ones, which means I haven't even really looked at my old ones. Obviously, I look at my analytics and I review how they're doing and things like that, but I don't actually sit down and listen to them. So I thought that this will be kind of fun if I just went through all of my episodes, picked out my favorite ones, and then kind of told you guys why they were my favorite ones, and that way you can kind of have a mix of topics that you can go through that are the best of the best, kind of the greatest hits, and then I can kind of see what actually is in my archives. I'll say things like, oh, I think I did an episode on this, but I never actually know, because I genuinely can't remember. I have the memory of a goldfish, but now I know. While I did go through them, I didn't listen to all of them again, because obviously that would take years with every single episode being 30 minutes. 30 minutes times 100. That's 3,000 minutes. That's a lot. It's a lot of time dedicated to listening to myself. So, obviously I did not do that, but I went through and looked at all the summaries and kind of just picked out ones that I remember being really proud of, or I really enjoyed, and all that stuff. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to go through the top lessons I have learned in each of these episodes, kind of talk about how I've grown. Also, I will link all of them down below. The link is probably going to be for the Spotify episode, or maybe the Apple, I don't know, maybe the YouTube. I'll probably do it for the YouTube episode because that is the easiest one, like the easiest platform, since YouTube's free and not everyone has Apple or Spotify. But if you prefer to listen to it on a specific platform, definitely do that. You know, just type in the title, you're good. So I started back at the beginning and made my way up to my most recent episode. So in no particular order other than the fact that they are chronological and I started back in the day. So obviously the first episode that I am going to bring up, other than the trailer because she doesn't count, is episode 1. Now, episode 1 is really interesting. The title is How to Be More Confident and Why Confidence Matters. I remember doing a really deep dive into this and getting references for it, and it's literally all about what your self-concept is, why that matters, and how to improve it. If you don't remember, I'll give you a little rundown. Your self-concept is how you view yourself. Obviously, that matters for a lot of reasons, and you can improve it doing a lot of different things that I talk about in that episode. But I talk about how it literally impacts your life, the way that you view yourself in so many ways, negative and positive. And it's definitely a crowd favorite. It has always had the most amount of views ever on like everything but YouTube. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that. This episode has the most amount of views, and no matter how well any of my other ones do, they don't top it. People just really love knowing how to be confident, I guess. But it was really, really important that that was my first episode, because when I came out with it, my self-concept was really struggling. I had really lost my sense of self and didn't know who I was, didn't really think I was capable of anything. I've been kind of broken down a lot, really previously, or really, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry, I can't talk today. Like, right before I started the podcast, I went through a lot that just made me have, like, no positive self-concept whatsoever. So it was really a turning point that I made this episode. It kind of made me look into the importance of confidence, which forced me to care more about it and say, like, oh no, you're not just being selfish, you're not just being like narcissistic, like you should actually like yourself and think that you're capable of things and think that you're a bad bitch. So it was a big turning point, and it was my first episode, so very important episode. You can listen to that down below if you haven't already, because she got the views. Number 2 is skipping to episode 15, and that is how to start a business in your 20s. This one is a favorite because starting a business is really hard, obviously, and I know that I know more now than I did then, like so much more that I've learned even in the past couple of months. However, the things I put in that episode are things that I wish I would have known. Like, it's really gatekeeped how to start a business, especially when you're younger. People just don't take you seriously and no one helps you, and people really do get really competitive about it. Like, you could be selling jewelry and they could be selling food, and they will like still gatekeep and not help you because it's just so competitive. And that's just my experience. Obviously, like, people will find a mentor that helps them out, but I have not found mine yet, so it's been very much me just trying to figure it out, and everyone I've kind of tried to go to as a mentor has gatekept it. So that episode is really important to me because I felt like I was genuinely helping people, and I wish that I would have known those things, because I would have probably made a lot less mistakes and stuck to some of my businesses if I would have done things that way and started it correctly. There's no right way to do it, but I think that there's tips to make you more successful, and I didn't follow any of those because I didn't know they existed. So yeah, definitely a good episode. I probably should do an updated one since I have learned so much, but let me get that coin first, figure out a little bit more, and then I'll do an updated one. Next is episode 16, so I guess we were on a little bit of a a good vibe there. We had two good ones in a row. And this one is what they don't tell you about graduating college. This one hits home for me because I really wish I would have known those things, and they were very honest and real and things I was struggling with. I feel like I would have prepared for graduation a lot differently, like post-grad life, and the adjustment, the transition, I guess, wouldn't have been so hard because I was just smacked in the face by post-grad life. I did not expect it to be as hard as it was. Obviously, I didn't expect it to be easy, but I expected it to be a smoother transition. Like, every life moment between, like, high school and college and middle school and high school, and even, like, moving out of my mom's house and, like, getting my own house with roommates, obviously. She's not that rich. She's actually quite poor. Hi. But, you know, all of those big moments were not difficult transitions for me, so I assumed that transitioning to, like, a career and a job after college would not be that hard. And yeah, I would struggle, but it wouldn't be that bad. And no, it smacked me in the face with reality, and it sucked. And obviously there's great things about it, but I think I would appreciate those good things more if I didn't struggle as much with the other things because I was prepared for them. So, yeah, we're preparing. We're prepared. So episode 16 is all about that, and if you just graduated college, you're graduating in December or May, or you do quarters and you're graduating in October, whatever it may be, definitely check that one out because I definitely would have done a lot differently. Number 4 is episode 22, and this one is how to practice self-care on a budget. Up until this episode, I was really struggling because I had always had enough money to practice self-care at a certain level. I don't like change, so self-care for me was very black and white. It was, I use this hair mask, use this lotion, go to this gym, practice this, meditate at this time, do that. And it was very, very, very routine. Got my nails done at the same time. Very routine. However, when I no longer had the same income I had, because you got to remember, I was on a scholarship for 4 years, the exact same scholarship with UK, so I had a pretty set amount of money that I was making, and I was working on top of that, so like everything was very set in stone. And when I actually started making less money than I was making at UK, it wasn't that I was making less money, I just had more bills. I couldn't spend that money on silly, goofy things like self-care. So it was really hard for me, and I felt like my worth diminished because my self-care routine kind of fell to the side and was not a priority anymore, and I felt like I couldn't afford self-care. So this episode was really, really, really important for me to just like, even when my bank account is low, still feel great, because I attach a lot of my self-worth to the amount of money in my bank account, which is not good, and we are working on her. That is something I'm aware of and working through, but it really just helped me feel luxurious and bougie, and the self-care vibes and high self-esteem and confident and all that, even when I had no money. So yeah, also, if you're watching this video, sorry for the hand movements. She's feeling animated today. I also don't know why I keep referring to myself as she, but it's fine. Episode 30 is number 5, and it is titled, You Are Your Best Asset. I don't know, there's just something about realizing your self-worth and what you bring to the table. I have quite a few episodes, I didn't realize I had this many, like I'd say 3 or 4, where I'm just like, you know what? People don't treat me well and I deserve better. Fuck this. Like, literally 3 or 4 episodes, and that's like the premise of it. Like, and I'm obviously not just sitting there being like, yeah, I'm an amazing person, everyone should think I'm amazing. No. But I sit there and I say like, hey, this is why you are amazing and this is why you deserve better, because I wish someone would have said it to me sooner. So that's what this episode is. I just talk about how to stop self-sabotaging and realize how like great you are and what you bring to the table. It's really good for low self-esteem girlies like myself who struggle sometimes. And really, yeah, I just talk about why you shouldn't self-sabotage and how cool and hot and fun you are. and why more people should see that and what to do if they don't. Episode 33 is number 6, and it is called Why You Have Burnout and How to Fix It. This one was really, really popular on YouTube. Hey, YouTube girlies, shout out to you. Burnout is a common theme on my podcast because I struggle with it. I don't know balance, and I either do too much or too little. But this episode really, really dove into it. I'm pretty sure I added references and got really just like detailed. But I really like this episode because sometimes it's just best to take your own advice, and I feel like this episode I just need to take my own advice and fix my burnout and rest more and things like that. So that one's really good, especially if you're struggling with burnout. Number 7 is episode 43. So we went from 33 to 43. I just realized that. And that one is called How to Stop Caring What People Think of You. This one is a good one to pair with You're Your Best Asset. It's just like not caring what people think is the key to success, honestly. Like, it is the password to unlocking a successful life. And just like being successful, how many times can I say successful? Just like manifesting the life that you want, getting everything that you want, because genuinely most of the time what's holding you back is being scared of what other people think. And this like just not caring is great. And I'm not saying I don't care ever. Obviously I still struggle with this, but I have come a very, very, very long way. I am such a people pleaser. Maybe one day I'll have one of my best friends who like have really coached me through not being a people pleaser anymore on here. Like, shout out to Katie. Love you. You really helped me through that. But this one's really good if you also struggle with that. And I really just talk about how to respond when someone judges you, how to respond with kindness, how to ignore when people judge you, and the best way to focus on your goals and how to kind of zero in on that even when people are judging you. So really good one for learning how to not care and stop feeling like you have to please everyone. Episode 52 is number 8, and this one is called How to Use Social Media to Boost Your Confidence and Improve Your Self-Care Routine. This one did really well on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. She definitely got my attention from the analytics. But this one was really, really important to me because social media has really done so much damage to people's confidence, especially women, I feel like women in their 20s, my target audience, you guys know this. I feel like we have really dealt with it and had to kind of adapt to everyone assuming that, I felt like, honestly, social media has just spread the narrative that you have to look a certain way and act a certain way in order to be considered pretty and popular and worthy and all the things that people think are who you need to be. Talking about how social media can boost your confidence and become an asset or beneficial to your self-care routine was really important for me because I felt like I could really help other people, and judging on the views, I hope I did. But I don't know. So episode 63 is number 9. And this was kind of a turning point for me because I went from going full speed ahead 100% of the time and having to always work really hard, burning myself out, to maybe I don't need to work that hard and I can just like chill. So the title of this one is Mastering the Art of Soft Living. I honestly have realized that I'm just much more soft than I admitted or have admitted in the past, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have to be cold and like strong and 100% of the time just like working really, really hard and not enjoying anything at all. I mean, I can do that sometimes if I want to, but honestly, it's up to me and it's up to you. Like, if you like being delicate and pretty and love pink and all that, like, not that that's associated with soft in any way. I know that one is not mutually exclusive to the other, but just as an example, like, if you like doing those things, that's great. if you like being more mysterious and you like being more cold and distant, that's great. But I felt like I had to be cold and distant, and I always had to be very strong. I couldn't appear like quote unquote weak. I couldn't appear emotional. I couldn't rest. I couldn't, no days off, you know, hustle, all that stuff. I felt like I had to do that to be like loved or wanted or appreciated, and like that my value was associated with how much I did or didn't do. And that's not the case. I'm allowed to go to the park, lay out a blanket, and read a book simply because I enjoy it. I can be delicate and soft and enjoy slow life and soft living, and there's literally nothing wrong with that. So that's, I mean, this episode isn't about that. This episode is just like everything you need to know about soft living, how to master it, all those things. But for me, the episode was so important because I realized that I actually enjoy it, and I just don't have to be this like girl boss that like drinks 5 coffees a day and doesn't do anything for her mental health other than like go to the gym, which I don't do that as much as I should. But anyway, episode 66 is number 10, and that's not having a plan and debunking society's expectations. If there's one thing that I have learned, even from the moment I mentioned even starting a podcast, is that society typically does not know what's best for you. Society also does not like it if you do something that is against the grain, against the stereotypical thing to do. And a lot of times, the stereotypical thing to do and what's best for you are not the same. I mean, they can be. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them being the same. But what's best for you should not be what's best for you simply because society told you it is. It should be what's best for you because you know that that's what's best for you. Your intuition's telling you that. You know you're confident in your decision. So this episode talks about figuring out how to know what is best for you when everyone is pressuring you to do that stereotypical thing. And then I also talk about how I have learned to be okay with not having a plan, because we all know I get panic attacks when something goes slightly off of what I expect or need it to be. Number 11 is episode 73, and this one is titled That Podcasting Girl, Strong Woman, How to Start a Side Hustle, and More, featuring Violet Mitzi. So this one was really fun because it was my first and only guest episode so far. And I'm honestly just such a girl's girl. I'm such a girl's girl. Like, I don't even know what else to say. I love hanging out with other girlies. I love talking about strong women. And I love talking to someone who has a similar mindset to me. A lot of people that I talk to don't, or a lot of my friends, honestly, don't want a side hustle, aren't extremely entrepreneurial, don't really view things through the same lens that I do, which is obviously not an issue at all, but it's like a breath of fresh air when I do talk to someone who has that same mindset and gets it, and Violet just does. So it was honestly just a really, really good episode. There's some great advice in there, and I highly recommend listening regardless of what you believe, whether you want a side hustle, you don't want a side hustle, if you're just like a girl's girl, it's a vibe, honestly. Like, definitely give it a listen. Number 12 is episode 74, and this one is called How to Turn Your Life into a Pinterest Board. Pretty self-explanatory. I just really like this episode because my love for Pinterest boards, as we know, is unparalleled. Nothing that a good Pinterest board can't cure. You know, any bad day is solved by making a Pinterest board, in my opinion. So this one's fun, and it actually did pretty well as well. And it's just all about making your life your Pinterest board you've been having for a while now, your vision board, whatever you want to call it. That vision you have in your head of that perfect life. How to do that, basically. Number 13 is episode 77, and this one is titled 10 Ways to Get Out of a Slump. Pretty relatable. I'm sure everyone gets into slumps sometimes. but getting out of them is the tricky part, obviously. That's why I made an episode on it. And this episode just honestly reminds me that life can get good again when I feel like I'm stuck. It ebbs and flows, ups and downs, roller coasters, all those things. So it's just a good episode for if you're feeling stuck, unmotivated, slumpy. It's there for you. Number 14 is episode 81, and that one is 24 lessons I learned at 24. We love life lessons, and this one is a good episode if you just want like a summarization of life advice that covers every single topic, whether that's career, relationships, confidence, self-love, whatever it may be. There is a life lesson in there and advice that relates to that, and it's a very general episode in the sense that it's applicable to anyone in their early to mid-20s, so just an overall strong episode. And finally, number 15 is a two-part series, so it was episode 89 and 90, and the first episode is the one that I'll link, and then the next one you can just watch after that one. It's literally the one directly after it, but it is the entire Eras Tour Ticketmaster Taylor Swift drama explained. That's the title of the first one. I love doing deep dives, and I love Taylor. Need I say more? Which, by the way, my Taylor Swift concert's on Friday. If you're going to Cincy on 6:30, come see me and I'll give you a bracelet. We can trade and be besties. Yay. No, but really, I get really passionate about things that I think more people need to know about, whether they're wrong or crazy or insane, and this is all of the above. Literally, like, what the heck? And I'm just reading the notes I wrote here. What the heck, Ticketmaster? Allegedly. How are you allowed to do anything you've done? Allegedly. What? Like, it is the craziest thing, and I even said in that episode, whether you like Taylor or not, you should be informed on what Ticketmaster is doing as a consumer. Whether you like concerts or not, this is all about how consumers are being treated by monopolies, allegedly. So definitely check those out because I think they're just so interesting. Even if you're not like a business girly who's into following that kind of stuff or you think it's hard to follow, those episodes are insane. So that's it. Those are the 15 episodes that are personally my favorite. I had a little bit of a hard time narrowing it down, but I think I went with the ones that were the most emotionally provoking. No, evoking? Thought-provoking? I don't know. It's 11 o'clock. This needs to be up 2 hours ago, and I still haven't edited it, obviously, or got it up. So words are hard, but I really, really appreciate you being along for the ride, whether it's been for 2 seconds or over a year. You mean the absolute world to me. Don't forget to follow on whatever platform you're on. Leave a rating or review if you wanna. It takes you about 2 seconds and can blow my podcast up. You guys mean the absolute world to me, and I love you so much. I upload every single Sunday and Wednesday, so if you're watching this on the Wednesday that it comes out, unless it comes out on Thursday because it goes out after midnight, I love you. I hope you have a great night. If you're watching this on any other day, I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or night. And I will see you on episode 101 on Sunday. It'll be after my concert, and I think we're planning on tailgating on Saturday as well, so say hi to me if you see me. Come get a bracelet. I will also possibly have paper rings, and I'll have all kinds of fun goodies. I think I'm going to do little goodie bags, so it's going to be really fun. But I think that's it. I love you so, so much, and I hope you have a great rest of whatever the time it is right now. I'm getting delusional, and I need to go to bed. Okay, bye guys. Love you.